Hi, I'm Caitlin Nykum. Instead of our normally scheduled Inform interview, we will instead be airing the lifelong achievements of the recently inducted 2025 Junior Achievement Dubois County Business Hall of Fame Historical Laureate Herbert E. Thyen. Herb Thyen was a lifelong resident of Jasper, Indiana, where after serving on the Jasper City Council in the 1940s, he was appointed mayor in 1945 following the untimely death of Mayor Bartley. In 1948, Herb was elected to a full 6-year term. Following his transition into city leadership, Herb and 4 others founded the Jasper Corporation in 1950, which later became Kimball International Incorporated. This program is courtesy of Junior Achievement of Southwestern Indiana and produced by Brescher Filming and Photography. Thank you so much for watching 18 WJTS, and please enjoy.
Well, Dad was, I guess I'd call a self-made plywood engineer. I think he learned a lot about it when he worked at Jasper Wood Products, and they developed with Ford Motor Company. He was involved with a engineer out of Ironmont, Michigan, Tel Bailey, and they designed the wood exterior parts for the Ford Woody station wagon, which that was a famous vehicle for years. And so all of those parts he designed, and they were produced at the Jasper Wood Products plant here in Jasper, and then they shipped them to Michigan.
I think my dad was successful because he was a lifelong student. He taught himself. He was required to leave high school at age 16. And so he learned how to be adaptable and flexible. He became a good problem definer and problem solver. And I think he kept his focus. He had good discipline. And I think a lot of good things happened in America at the time that he entered business.
His leadership style, I think, well, with us, it was, excellence and do the job right. But I think he was a servant leader. I mean, he would never ask employees to do anything that he wouldn't do himself. But he also expected, I think, everybody to give a good, honest day's work and do their best.
When World War II started, Jasper Wood Products became a defense plant. And he was part of the team that designed these wooden gliders that were used in the Battle of the Bulge. A lot of the parts were made at Jasper Wood Products. They shipped them like unassembled to England, and then they put them together there, and they would be 10 or 12 troops would be in this wood box with wings, and they would tow it behind an airplane or a bomber, and they towed them across the English Channel, and then they cut them loose, and they glided them down and tried to land them. Many of them, of course, crashed, and they ran into trees and things, but yeah, a lot of that was built here in Jasper, also those parts.
So then after the war, that's, when he started Star Masters, they did a lot of molded plywood. In fact, they had, with Kitchen Compact, they made kitchen drawers that had no corners in them, so you could clean out the dirt. And of course, they had molded plywood skis. After the war, they made all the paneling for the Woody station wagons.
What sorts of things did I learn from him through the years? I'd say respect for people, work hard, play hard. He loved, Mom and he were a great partnership, and getting together and having family get-togethers. And it wasn't always just the immediate family, the sons and daughters and the kids. It was aunts, uncles, everybody. I learned you needed to have a release from the day-to-day business. So when he would come home and we'd go out to the farm, he loved his ponies. We would go out to the farm and work hard, get that stress out that way, and then be able to, leave it behind you.
Well, certainly he's proud of the fact that he helped co-found a company that was a local company that grew into an international footprint and was globally competitive on all the continents. But I think he would look at his family as the thing that he'd be most proud of. He believed that the ultimate measure of wealth was a successful family. And we have 6 children in our family. All are solid citizens. Our grandchildren are all solid citizens. We're all happily married. He was very proud of his lifelong marriage to my mother, Maxine.
Yeah, he called us, it was myself and Jim and Carol, and John. There was four, at that time there was 4 children when he originated. And so he called a meeting in the dining room at the house, and everybody's together, and we're like, oh, what's this about? And so he told us that he decided he quit his job at the Jasper Wood Products. He borrowed as much money as he possibly could, and he was investing in the Jasper Carp, and he was going to start his own company, and things were going to be tight for several years, and so don't expect any allowances, or if you needed spending money, you were going to have to mow some lawns or wash some cars. And because it was tight, he basically, I think, borrowed everything he could. It's the same, I'm sure Arnold did the same thing until a couple of years, and then the business started to get a little better.
He would be extremely supportive of junior achievement and the lessons that junior achievement teaches. He would advise them to focus on their academics, particularly the basics, reading, develop good reading skills, good writing skills, math, and good speaking skills. I think he would tell them to put down their device, the mechanical device, more often than not, and engage with people, build relationships. Well, it wasn't funny at the time, but it was funny to me later. As a young lad, Dad had pigeons. He showed pigeons. He would put the best ones in the back pen, and he'd put the worst birds that he wanted to get rid of in the front pen. It was our task to butcher those pigeons and clean them, put them in the freezer, and it was food for the family. But this one week, he left, and we went out and killed all the birds in the front pen. And that night he called home and he asked Mom, the boys didn't go out there and kill the pigeons and butcher the pigeons, did he? They waited till, and Mom said, no, they're all done, dressed, cleaned in the freezer. There was this long pause on the telephone of silence and then just a click. And we found out when he came home that we killed all of his best birds, wiped him out of the pigeon business. So then he adapted, and that's how we began in Shetland ponies.
He believed strongly in giving back. I know he loved the community very much. One time I asked him in high school, Dad, if you could live anywhere else in the world, where would it be? And he immediately came back with, I would live nowhere else. This is where I would live. And so I think he just loved the community, loved his outdoor activities, loved raising the ponies, being with the family, and just put it all together.